Hi everyone, welcome back to Tezos Explained. I'm here with Tezos co-founder Arthur Brightman. Today we're going to be going through Etherlink, going through some use cases, trade-offs, and sort of looking forward to the road ahead. So Arthur, you've explored scaling across blockchains for years. Was there a particular insight that made Etherlink the right direction going forward?
Initially, I was quite focused on state channel type of solution. So the most popular state channel that's known is something like the Lightning Network, but it's not capital efficient. There's a lot of games you can play as well with smart contracts in a state channel. That's an interesting way to scale. Plasma was an extension of state channels. I got a bit interested in that, but I was a sharding skeptic as well for a very long time because looking at the sharding solution from Ethereum, none of them seemed to really hold water. Like it wasn't even clear what they were proposing. My first idea around scaling was in 2017, I published a blog post where I proposed something like validity rollups. So the idea is using zero knowledge proofs, not for privacy, but for scaling. It's an idea that's since then proven extremely popular. So I had this in the corner of my mind. And then around 2021, two things became clear to me. One was that there was a clear way of doing sharded data availability with error correcting code. And you could pair that with the validity rollups. But then on top of that, you also had the concept of an optimistic rollup, which are much more compute efficient than validity rollup, but still provide excellent security guarantees. So when all of this came together, I was like, okay, now scaling is solved. After that, it's just been about implementing it.
And what are some of the technical challenges in terms of implementation of the technology?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and also like you're doing very security critical work. So you can't afford to have bugs. There's a lot of complexity in the logic for it. In the zero knowledge rollup, the validity rollup, you have to deal with complicated cryptographic primitives. So those can be quite hard to implement, but then you can test them very thoroughly. And also for your security, you only depend on the security of your verifier, which can be much simpler. Then you have to care about the security of your circuit. That can be quite difficult. But once you're there, you're there. You don't have complicated state management and logic. Optimistic rollup is the opposite. There's no complicated cryptography about it, but there's a lot of edge cases and state and like thinking about a game and all that. So that can be quite tricky to implement. You need to have virtual machines. You need to think about gas. You need to think about a lot of things. It's quite a bit of work.
So bringing it back to Etherlink, from a developer or user perspective, what are some of the new capabilities does Etherlink enable that weren't possible in Tezos L1?
Mostly acting as a EVM compatibility layer. There's a whole ecosystem now of tools and middleware that basically can just plug in any EVM chain. So being an EVM chain brings you a lot of benefits from this perspective. You get access to bridges, you get access to custodians, centralized exchanges, wallets, all of that. So unlocking that is a massive benefit, and it's something that a lot of developers want to have. It's also the case that a lot of developers today start by building in Solidity or for an Ethereum type of environment and then choose a chain to deploy on later in the process. So being able to come and say, hey, you can deploy on Tezos by using Etherlink is a much better value prop than saying, hey, wouldn't you like to rewrite your entire code base to deploy on Tezos?
So there's been an ongoing debate amongst the community. Does Etherlink compete with Tezos or is it complementary? And how do you sort of frame that relationship both strategically and technically?
Tezos and Etherlink are not competing with each other. And also there's not Tezos and Etherlink. Etherlink is just a part of Tezos. Etherlink is the name of the EVM compatibility layer for Tezos. If you're using Etherlink, you're using Tez. You're relying on the security of the Tezos blockchain. You're paying for gas using Tez. You're paying for transaction inclusion using Tez. Yeah, it's a part of Tezos. It has a brand because people like new stuff. And so if you give them new stuff, it's like, Etherlink, it's new, come and check it out.
So what impact could Etherlink have on bringing liquidity and rebuilding a strong DeFi layer on Tezos?
For a while, I think there was not a clear strategy around DeFi, and Etherlink was a good opportunity to bring more DeFi. One of the things that Etherlink brings that's quite important is low latency. You get your confirmation for your transaction in less than 1 second, and that has proven to be a key part, really, really important part of DeFi. People do not want to wait 20 seconds to see the transaction being included or finalized. They just want to be able to trade quite quickly. That's been very, very important, and that's something that Etherlink can offer. There's plans to release Tezlink, which offers some Michelson and Tezos compatibility, which will also come with a sub-millisecond latency. But for now, if you want the sub-second latency on Tezos, that's Etherlink, and that's where it makes most sense for the DeFi to live. It's also the case that a lot of protocols exist on many chains, a lot of bridges exist on many chains, a lot of aggregators exist on many chains. You want to be able to tap into all of that environment. So for all these reasons, it makes a lot of sense to make a concentrated push for DeFi on Etherlink.
So what are the significance of fast withdrawals for moving assets from Etherlink to Tezos, and how does that sort of open up a new layer of interoperability and UX for the chain?
So the fast withdrawal will mostly work for its fungible tokens. I think it gives people the confidence that they can mint their token on a Tezos L1 and then bridge them over to Etherlink for usage, rather than necessarily create them straight on Etherlink, because they know that they'll have a convenient way of bringing them back quickly if need be, and then the two can be arbitraged fairly efficiently. I still think it makes a lot of sense for assets which are minted to be minted on L1 and then bridge over, because it gives you the possibility to really quickly dispatch. So if you're going to have a hub and spoke type of model, you kind of want your hub to be on L1.
Final question: looking forward in sort of 2 to 3 years, what do you envision as some of the most impactful use cases for Etherlink?
I think it's important to be open to anything that's going to come. There's some applications coming to Etherlink I'm excited about. There's a marketplace for compute for generating AI art. That's quite interesting coming up. One area I've been focusing on is using DeFi for real stuff as opposed to DeFi for DeFi's sake. Using DeFi for uranium trading, for example, is super interesting. So yeah, this kind of marriage between DeFi but actual meaningful finance.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.